Ready? Okay. Hi there, Guy Schneider and Garrett's dad. He just wanted to go over the 9/11 day that I experienced, well, really the first week. And got my old helmet from 1984. As you can see, it's been used a lot, been burnt. And interesting day. I was doing a 24-hour tour. I'm finishing up my day tour. I was out in the house watching TV. And next thing, I had we have a monitor for all the frequencies in the house watch. And came over on Channel 2 that a plane had struck the World Trade Center. It was Tower 1 or Tower 2, I'm not sure.
North Tower.
North Tower, okay. North Tower. So that the videos are showing it, it didn't look like much because there was nothing going on, just the plane hit, and then all of a sudden everything went crazy, smoke and flames. And as I'm sitting there, I blasted out the all hands. We had a klaxon horn, got everybody up. The World Trade Center had just been attacked. And then by that time, 20 minutes later, the second jet hit the second tower. So we all watched that on TV. And you got to remember that our firehouse is 12 miles away from the World Trade Center. It just goes to show you how big the city of New York is. So we got everything together. We went up to the roof, opened up the hatch up there, just take a look, because we could see the top of the World Trade Centers from the top of the firehouse. Our firehouse is 3 stories high. And we could see the smoke coming out of 1 and the smoke coming out of 2. And then it was just like, I think we better get off the roof because we don't know what's going on. We're under attack now that we've established that. We got downstairs and we found out the city recalled every fireman that works in the city of New York. That's about 18,000 men. We only had 15 in my house. We had 6 guys for the tower ladder, 5 guys for the engine, and the chief and the battalion aide. So we're just waiting, and finally we knew somebody was going to go down there, and it was a tower ladder. And as they're leaving the firehouse, the second tower came down. The first tower had already dropped. Everybody's in panic mode. We could see the dust and the smoke from where we were. So one big cloud in the sky. So the second tower ladder, the tower ladder was leaving the firehouse. The second tower came down. I got on the radio and told them, be careful. Everything's coming down now. So they got down there. They came back. See, it was 9:30 in the morning. They got back around 4 o'clock in the morning, covered in dust. So we just told everybody, you ain't coming in the firehouse with all that crap. So we washed down the truck, we washed down everybody in their turnout gear, got everything cleaned up, and from then on in, it was like craziness. And once the towers fell, phone calls. I got a call from Garrett's older brother, Michael, who managed to get through all the phone lines. I said, Mike, don't worry about it. We're not going down. We're all right. Everything's covered. Tell Mommy that everything's okay.
So, question: what time was that at when Mike called?
It's probably about, I guess, about one in the afternoon.
And that was the first time anyone heard from you?
Yeah.
Since the first point?
That was it. So the next day, we decided we had to stay in the firehouse. Everybody that was working had to stay at work. Let's say when tower ladder went down, they came back. They were taken out of service. So we figured, well, the engine's going to go. But we never left until Thursday, but I'll get into that later. Anyway, as the tower ladder came back, the guys were like crazy. They were coughing from all the dust and everything else. Called the medical office, which couldn't respond because they were all down at the World Trade Center. So we ended up taking the guys to the hospital and giving everybody, respirators, oxygen, whatever it was. The guys were hurting. To this day, I think through the year, only one guy managed to stay in the firehouse. Everybody else had to leave. Their body was completely gone. The lungs were shot. Guys were coming down with all sorts of strange illnesses. So we lost 6 guys that day, 5 guys, just because of the World Trade Center in one day. We went through the night. Everybody was getting assigned down there, and they're coming back. We didn't get a sign, but we managed. I had my van at the time, could fit 7 guys in. We loaded up the van, took a pickup truck, loaded up our gear, and off we went down the down the FDR Drive to get down to the World Trade Center. We had to talk to the state troopers who was on Houston Street in the FDR. They wouldn't let us through. I said, "You got to be kidding me." One of our senior men got down, who was basically a union guy, John Raw, right? So he managed to get the guys who were going down to help. You know, we're off shift. We're just going to go down. Go. So we got an escort, maybe about halfway down. We had to stop about a half a mile away from the site itself because the dust was so thick you couldn't drive through it. As we got there, I forgot the number of the plane, but there was a suitcase laying on the sidewalk. And we looked on it, it was an American Airlines luggage tag. It's like, oh, this is, you know, we put a cone on top of it just to give everybody a signal that don't touch. We walked down, it took us about 20 minutes to get down. You never saw anything like that in your life. 2 buildings completely collapsed, 30, 40-foot high rubble. No one was doing, you know, the iron workers were just starting to come in. We were going in, we were grabbing, you know, iron workers were showing us how to use a cutting torch, and we were trying to cut away. We were using Home Depot buckets to get the rubble off and dump it somewhere. Me and Billy Larson, guy in the truck company at the time, who just came into work, we found an EMS worker underneath the rubble who managed to get away from the first tower, but the impact of the thing falling, the rubble just split her in half. So her head was hitting her feet. So we buried her out. EMS came along, they put her on a stretcher, took her away. We had to tag her. We had a GPS unit that would GPS all the bodies that were found. Talk about modern technology. So we stayed there, I guess, 15 or 16 hours, and to the point now we were covered in dust and from digging out and everything else. Never found any bodies at that time. That night they found the last fireman on top of the pile who just managed to get to the higher floors and survived the second tower coming down. He lost all his teeth, broken arm, broken leg, and the only time we found him, well, we didn't find him, but another crew, that he was screaming and yelling, told his wife he'll never do this again. So we got, you know, they got him out. He was the last really survivor that day. Until we found out, ladder 6, they were stuck in a staircase, taking out an old lady who had an ankle fracture, and the second tower came down, and believe it or not, left an airspace for the guys. So the 6 guys from 6 truck, the low lady was sitting in a staircase. I think there were 4 floors above the pile. So anyway, it took a while because the guys still had radio communication. One of the guys kind of crawled up to a spot where you could see light, dug himself out, and started waving, and they got him out. Everybody was kind of, you know, screwed up a little bit. The lady survived, no problem. Got her out with a stretcher, put her in EMS, and off to the hospital. A couple of things on the that we managed to get out, but all we did was dig. And the big strange part was we were on top of the pile digging, and the restaurant that was in, I think it was in the first tower, was it Around the World, something there?
Some world. Views of the World?
Windows of the World. Yeah. Their restaurant used to have the plate covers to keep the plates warm. There must have been hundreds of them sitting right on top of the rubble. So we had to bag each one of them to find if the fingerprints or anything like that. They all wanted it up. So we must have put like maybe 10 to 12 covers in each red bag that they gave us. That took us a good 2 hours because we had to dig out for them. And we didn't find anything. And like I say, it was the top of the rubble. Whoever was on the 82nd floor, whatever, is somewhere underneath. Like I said, it had been a 40-foot pile of steel girders, everything else. And what we noticed was there wasn't one bit of concrete or glass. It was all dust. And here we are sucking this stuff up, because the city wasn't prepared for something like this. And we had to go to a hardware store, break in, and we grabbed every dust mask, that they use for paint and everything else, and grabbed that. So we found boxes of the stuff in the storeroom. We got them all out, started handing them out to anybody that wanted them. So we did that for the whole day. And then they had us going in I forgot the name of the building. The stock market building.
Wall Street?
No, it wasn't Wall Street. I forgot the name of the building. It's a German name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Anyway, one of the buildings, which was next to the World Trade Center, had a gash in it from like the 40th floor all the way down, where the building came down and just sliced it.
Talking about the hotel?
No, not the hotel.
Is it Deutsch something?
That's it, Deutsch building.
Deutsch
The
building,
Deutsch building.
yeah.
I'm sorry. You get to tape all this, right?
Yeah.
The Deutsch building was split in two. So we had to go in. There was fire in the building. So they found some hose. We got 2.5 inch. We found out the hose was connected to Marine 6 down on the pier in the Hudson River. So Roger Holtzmacher was. Anyway, so we must have stretched hundreds of feet of hose to get into the building. We got up to the 3rd floor, which was the file unit. Every file cabinet was burning. So we had to open up each drawer with the Halligan to pop them open. As soon as we opened it up, all the files would just go up in flame. So we said, okay, we're going to be here a while. Then we realized, this is salt water. We didn't realize at the time that marine units were supplying, because all the hydrants within a half a mile were gone. They were underneath all the rubble, or they were knocked down from the blast, from the buildings hitting the ground. So we were there for about 3 or 4 hours until finally, there was one part I was spraying the floor and the water was just boiling off and going, I don't think we got in there. We're going to have to get drills in here. So Rescue 3 came in, the new Rescue 3, because the old one got smashed up. And they started drilling holes, and, they had another company go in because right this time we were exhausted. We left, we got out, it was starting to get nighttime. There wasn't anything around to eat or like that because everything was shut down, all the delis and everything else. So we finally decided, this was it. We told the chief that we were, going back to quarters and get freshened up. The next morning, we wake up, 60 engine was assigned to the pile. So, well, I guess we're going back. We went back, and they got me on Maiden Avenue, and I forgot the name of the street. You love this part. It was a big office building right next door where I started hooking up hoses. Now I had to stretch 500 feet of 3.5 inch hose to the nearest fire truck that was working, but everybody was, got killed in the collapse. So I managed to get the rig going, got it in the pump, and put the water down to my rig.
You remember what truck that was?
Nah, it was either 22 or I don't know what engine it was. Most of them were just covered up with dust. So we got the hose going. I got that. I was doing 44 truck, tower ladder, and 33 truck, another ladder, because the buildings, the 3, 4, and 5 was still burning. So they wanted the fires out before anybody could go into the buildings. So we were down there Maiden Lane, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there, and there must have been 50 cops around the corner, coming running around the corner saying, the building's gonna collapse. And I go, oh shit. So anyway, three honks on the horn would clear the area. So I don't know. So I hit three horns on the air horn, started running with the guys, and I'm looking up at the building going, this ain't gonna collapse. So I kind of turned around and went back, and I got there, and the chief was standing there with his arms crossed, and my lieutenant was Tommy LaPola. And who gave the air horn? I said, well, I did. 50 cops are running around the building, so the building's going to collapse. He just looked at me and goes, don't do it again. Okay, no problem, Chief. So I sat there for 18 hours pumping water to 2 of the tower ladders. We had to break them down and put 2 new ones in because the guys were there the night before. We kept going. And now the dogs started. They had the rescue dogs there from the search and rescue teams. Well, one guy was carrying his dog over to the rig. Says, "You got any water?" So he had plenty of water. So the dog was completely collapsed. Couldn't breathe. We're trying to give him water. The dog was pooping all over the place, peeing on itself. The poor owner, the guy, the rescue tech was kind of really... So at that point, believe it or not, there were veterinarians walking through the street with their, the trauma kits. And I'm waving to one because you could see animal rescue. Whew. They came over doing oxygen. They actually had dog masks. So the dog was calming down. We did our thing, and that was it. So I'm still pumping. Tractor trailer pulls up at Home Depot on the side. I go, this is good. So the guy opens up thing. I never saw so many orange Home Depot buckets in my life. There must have been thousands. So I ended up, we had a flatbed pull up, another Home Depot truck, and we just throwing the buckets on because that's all we could use at the time. The engineers, the operating engineers were coming down with, I never saw so much equipment. Most of them were Trumps because he ordered everybody off the sites to bring down the trucks. They even got him, they don't show it that much, but even got him on TV with with the mayor, Giuliani at the time, coming in and says, listen, I can do whatever you want. I'll help you do. So Giuliani says, give me any heavy equipment. Well, he certainly did. I never saw so many cranes, drills, buckets and everything else coming down. So they were doing good. They were just starting to get everything ready. So finally it started getting dark and it was time to go. We had our time. So Chief ordered us out. They had another engine come in. I forgot which one it was. So we went back, stayed outside, washed off the rig, which is covered in dirt and dust. And I actually got a cutting torch and gauges from the operating engineers. I even got a picture of me standing there with the cutting torch covered in dust. So we got there, we got back, and the next morning we had to stick around. They weren't letting anybody go until they figured out a new schedule, because it was going to be 24 on, 24 off for all the firemen, no matter where you lived. So Thursday basically was quiet down day. I came home Friday morning to see Garrett, Brian, and Michael at their schools. So I had a clean uniform on, thank God. But made sure I saw everybody. You were working then, weren't you, that Friday? Yeah. But I got you guys out of the way, went back to the city. So for the first week, all we did was go down, do what we had to do, but it was just amazing. You'll never see a site like that again. So then we started volunteering. I was doing like 2 days a month. This is the gory part. Anyway, Jimmy Curry and I went down. We got nice Carhartt coveralls. They gave us a respirator, which I still have. Helmets, the whole big gloves, boots. So we wouldn't have to use our turnout gear because now it was shot. They were gone. They took them out of service. So we go down there. We're going to do a 24-hour. And we got down there. They were just digging out around the North Towers elevator. They found that the wheels, the cable wheels for the elevators, had to have been like 36 feet wide, and circumference I can't give you, but they're heavy cables. They're doing elevators, 110 floors, whatever. So we got down there in the excavator. This guy could pick up a matchstick with the bucket he had, and he hit a spot, and it was dead body smell. So we all like, oh. So we had to go in there and shovel out and pick up find a body, and put whatever we could put into a bag and try and keep all the parts together. So it'd be a little easier for the, all the medical guys to figure out what's going on. And while we're down there, the one detective was down there grabbing wallets and, putting them in a bag, so we knew who it was at the time. And he tagged the bodies as they're going. But we found 13 bodies that night. So I go up to we went up, and the one chief I knew, I don't even remember his name now. No, it was Lieutenant Flame, asked me if, we need military guys here. So I raised my hand and go, you know how to do a whole funeral thing? He said, yeah, it's been a while, but I can do it. So I was in charge of 6 guys. We brought down the four-wheeler, loaded up the bodies in the back. It's like a dump thing. what is the name of it? Cushman? Yeah, Cushman carts. We went up the hill over, and the padre or the pastor was up there waiting for us. They'd pull each body out, lay it down nicely, still in the red bags. We had no idea who. And, got all the guys' attention, helmets off. Pastor did a prayer, which lasted about 5 minutes, good God. But once we were done, put all the bodies back in. They had a morgue set up, huge tent on the side of the pile. But that's, we kept going down twice a month. They didn't want everybody. They had a couple of our guys. John Rohr, he stayed down there for the whole 8 months. So he has lung disease. He's shot. He's still alive though today. Doesn't smoke anymore, obviously. He's still a tough old German. But that was the first couple of days. It wasn't. I'll give you one there. The first day, the second day I got there with the pumper, we pumping around, and I'm seeing an argument with a bunch of firefighters, and I see the cops coming in. So there's a guy there, in a coat, it was 69 engine. So, the lieutenant's yelling at him, "Who the hell do you think you are?" It was a reporter for a French newspaper. He actually took the gear off 69's engine, went down into the tunnel, and the lieutenant goes, "Who are you from?" "Oh, 69, which is 60 in French. Lieutenant goes, "Get out!" It was great. And they arrested him. I don't know if he ever made it back to France, but they were pissed.
What about when you guys saw Robin Williams too?
Yeah, we had Robin Williams. That was the next one of the 2 days went down. He was standing there, looking at it was starting to level off now. Everybody's starting to dig around. And we just saw it. Robin Williams is short. He's only 5'6", I think. So anyway, one of the guys knew him because he used to come to the firehouse, 55 truck. And he goes, "Let's screw around with him." So we go up there, and we grab him underneath the arms, and he starts screaming, "I'll kill this shot! I don't care what's going on." And it was, he's trying to make a comment, and we're all like, "Holy shit, this is Robin Williams!" We put him down, and he starts hugging each of us. Got the dust all over him, right? He was good, though. He was funny. But we had a lot of Broadway people serving us food at night. They finally opened up. A lot of the delis opened up a kitchen. And other things there. They were finding bodies left and right. It was just down to the bottom of the pile is where they picked up most of it, because a lot of people didn't get out.
What were your first thoughts when you first actually physically saw the pile in person? What was going through your head?
It was a holy shit moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, there's still a couple of beams sticking up in the air. That you saw, that was part of the pictorial proof.
Yeah.
When we get down there the next month, they were starting to cut it with the plasma cutters, because you couldn't use a cutting torch. The beams are 4 inches wide, on the legs of the beam itself.
Would you ever, what's the word I'm looking for? Not clarity. Whatever the word is, would you eventually at some point make your way down to the 9/11 museum down there?
I've never been down there yet.
I'm saying, would you?
No, I'm not going to go.
No?
No, I don't want to. I want to go down and look at all the busted up rigs. I did that at Staten Island. That was enough.
Yeah.
But, Staten Island, kind of it wasn't top secret, but they put all the old rigs all lined up. All of them still had the company numbers on them. And, they went through them. Got any personal gear that the guys left on the rig.
Not even the museum, just the memorial itself?
No, I've been there. Yeah, we went that one time. Remember, Lynn? We looked for Vernon Richard.
Yeah.
Who else? Pete. A couple other guys. Benny Suarez. Now, we had two guys that had transferred, got another company. It was Vernon Richard, the big black guy I used to run with, and Benny Suarez. And interesting fact, Benny never told his wife he transferred down to, I think it was 6 truck. And it was 2 weeks before. she came to the firehouse thinking he was still there. Oh, I'm the only one that knew the woman and the kids. They're all saying hi to me, and went in the engine office with her and told her, Benya doesn't work here anymore. I think he's down by the Manhattan. And I don't know what happened. Vernon, we knew right away. He was in 7 truck. We heard that was off. In fact, they got a picture of 7 truck getting off the rig while they were at the pile there before the second tower came down. But yeah, for 2 weeks we never had an ERS call. Dispatchers held all the calls. They didn't get a call on it. They weren't going to dispatch anybody. So, I've been trying to think of other things here. We were getting letters from people. All the locals were, bringing food. It was amazing. John Lemaire, remember John? There was a bed and mattress tractor trailer coming down the block. So we knew we were going to get people from other. He goes out there and does one of these, and the guy's like, "You got bed mattresses back there?" So we need them all. And the guy goes, "Okay." He pulled the truck up. We must have pulled out 40 mattresses just to put them on the floor because we knew we were going to get visitors sooner or later. So we got them all out, dragged them up to the bunk room, 3rd floor, a couple in the basement. But we just, we did what we had to do. But it took the city 6 months to come and clean the rig, the engine, which is still covered in dust. And we finally went down for our medicals, and everybody got the Advair purple disc because everybody had the Trade Center cough. Yeah. And everybody was down there always had it. So, but they said we'll be all right. Yeah. Anything else? I'm trying to think of what else happened. That's basically it, really. Yeah. First 5 days were the toughest. It was the toughest, and then going back every. Oh yeah, the last time we had those bodies, the 13th was Valentine's Day. I think it was the day before. So, but a lot of guys went out 3 quarters because of the World Trade Center. They just couldn't breathe anymore. A couple of guys came down with cancer. There's still a lot of old timers there that still haven't.
Still coming down.
Still coming down with it. Yeah, they're up to 300 and some odd now that from the World Trade Center, dying from some illness. It's just a matter of time. It's going to happen. But then our illustrious governor from New Jersey was like Christie. Governor Christie, the woman there. No, she wasn't Whitman. She wasn't governor. She was part of the, occupational health.
Yeah.
Told us that the smoke and everything was, don't worry about it. It's not poisonous. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah. They actually went with a lot of equipment, and they found out it was. It's all concrete, dust, and glass. Yep. It's going to go in your lungs. But took them till June of 2002 to finally get to the bottom of the pile. They actually had to build. The trucks couldn't go up because everything was all mud at the time. Mud at the time, because they had to build a portable ramp, aluminum ramp, so the trucks could get up because everybody was covered in mud and everything else after the rain we had. So they managed to. Most of the steel was put on barges in the East River, not the East River, the Hudson River. They found out the mafia was involved in some of the barges, and they were taking it to where they weren't supposed to go, the steel, because it's muddy, it's scrap now. But that before, I guess right after that, they had a couple of barges with New York steel, and they made the USS New York.
Yep.
I think the first third of the boat was made out of that scrap metal.
Yep. LPD.
LPD,
or
yeah, something like that. LPH.
Yeah, it's stationed in Norfolk.
Yeah.
I meant to actually go on there and try to get a coin or something from
it. But
that'd be a nice coin to have. USS New York.
Yeah. Otherwise, is getting back. That's about it, my friend. That's all I can really tell you.